Hi, everybody. This is Warren Herman, and tonight we're going to speak about an epidemic that is in today's society. And it can be described as an epidemic of a lack of executive function. So many people today begin to discover that it seems like the people around them are behaving in ways that are harmful and dysfunctional. And if people begin to do some psychological reading, they begin to notice something. They start to see that it seems like people are behaving in ways that are narcissistic, or there's an oddity to how they're behaving. And the disturbing thing is that this can start to seem widespread. Does this mean that all the people we encounter in our lives have something terribly wrong with them, that they have disorders, and that they are just bad people? No. It means that our society has forgotten what it means to train the human personality. What is deeply important is that human beings cannot provide comfort to each other unless they have comfort in themselves. We can think about the agitation of human life like a flame, and the kind of peace and grace we have from a life of prayer as water. Because people do not have an established life of prayer, their executive functions are not strengthened enough to be able to be non-reactive and peaceful in the face of their passions and impulses. And this is why people seem non-reactive and why relationships seem unfulfilling, because the people do not have enough water to transmit to us. People are a consolation to us when through prayer the water of grace comes into their personality and their peace is transmitted to others. It becomes unfulfilling if we are relating to people who, in essence, to varying degrees, it can become that if people do not train their mind, they can be on autopilot, and their identity is merely the carnal drama of their reactive mind rather than the cognitive and spiritual life that they are called to in Christ. And this is the real problem in society. Today, people will go to the gym and exercise their bodies, but they won't spend a half hour in prayer to exercise their mind and fill themselves with the discipline of their mental faculties. As St. Pio taught, he said mental prayer, it orders the passions and the conscience. He uses a similar term, but mental prayer is what orders our passions and conscience. It brings order into our personality so that we can extend that to others. Christ, when he meets the woman at the well, he says, I will give water, I'll give you water, you'll never thirst. And she says, give me this water, give us this water always. Or, I think they say that about bread later. Or, give me this water, That's what the thing is. We need to have a life of prayer, a life of reflection, so that having an interior experience, we are enabled to have something to offer to others, so that we can have these more reciprocal relationships. And I believe it's so important that all of society, that all people that all families, especially parents, should be able to know how to develop this ability so that they can be a comfort to their spouses and their children, and society can be transformed. Because there is no hope without this vertical transmission of grace. There is no grace that we can extend to each other. There's only drama. There's only being in your midbrain. There's no being in your frontal lobe and connected to God. There's all this junk. And then it ends up that over time, people become more haggard and more active and more active. And this lack of a contemplative life. The thing is that lay life requires deep prayer. If there's not deep prayer, we cannot fulfill our responsibilities. We cannot, there's not such a thing as the monk prays and the layperson is involved in the world. The layperson will be involved poorly in the world if they do not pray. And so we need to bring, and there's a saying, if you're busy, you need to, you need to pray. If you're not busy, pray a half hour. If you're busy, you need to pray a whole hour. So there needs to be more prayer for more activity, not less. And this is the way that we end up being a comfort to each other in life.